Hello, fellow cruisers. This is Shon from Not Your Average Cruise Channel, and I'm joined by my wife, Juanita. And today we're going to talk about how to have one too many. Okay, fellow cruiser, we got you here in our video on our channel, and we're going to talk about if size really matters, right? Do we have one too many, or is not enough? We're going to find out. We're going to talk about the size of your cruise party and whether or not you have enough in your group, or if it's just one too many. I think that's part of what makes cruising so likable and lovable for a lot of people is the different party sizes or the different group sizes.
Yeah, I don't think people think about cruising. Typically, when you see people cruising, they're cruising in groups, a couple, a family, but there are other options. So we're just going to talk about those.
Yeah, and when you think about those other options, the best thing about those other options is that it really accommodates different people, and that's what cruising really does. When you watch Linnell on Poverty to Paradise, she is cruising by herself for the most part, and
Mm-hmm.
she's loving it. But she's
Mm-hmm.
also meeting people all the time. She's meeting people, and she has the personality to do that, but also have some alone time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have a son who I would say enjoys kind of introverted. I think he
Mm-hmm.
enjoys elements of the cruise, but he also enjoys the elements of being able to be in a quiet space and look at the water.
Yeah. I think if you're cruising by yourself, there's some things that can make it better. And we've mentioned before about the cruise Facebook groups. If you know you're
Mm-hmm.
cruising on, I don't know, XYZ Cruise Line March 1st, 2026, look on Facebook, search that. There's usually a group already made. Some of those groups are formed 8, 9, 10 months in advance, but join that Facebook group. They actually plan meetups. They'll say, hey, let's
Yes.
meet on day one at such and such bar or such and such area. So you go into the cruise, even though you're cruising alone, you're going into the cruise possibly already knowing some people, already having some things planned. I think that's a great idea.
Right, and on the cruise, you're able to see and meet and make some new friends. There are people who have things in common with you. Well, you're on a cruise ship, so by virtue of being on the cruise, you all already have that in common,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so wherever you go, that's some like-minded people. Especially if you like trivia,
Mm-hmm.
you'll find some people that you can hang out with, or even karaoke, which is always a great crowd
Love karaoke.
um, to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
So cruising alone is not the end all be all, but I will put this caveat in that most people won't mention to you. Just remember, it's always double on occupancy. So even though you're
Mm-hmm.
cruising by yourself, you got to pay port fees and taxes for the second person. And yes, when you book that fare, the cruise line will ask you if you're solo or if it's double, and they'll tell you if you're solo, you're paying a double rate.
Yeah. I think it's another thing to think about, an opportunity to meet people is on cruise lines, they have games. They
Yes.
have, what was the game they played? Of course, there's Family Feud, which they want you to be in a family, but there were other games where they took volunteers from the audience. And some of those people, I mean, they were the best. They had
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
time. They laughed. You get to know these people. We've been on cruises where we might have seen someone on a show, one of the shows where they pull people from the audience. When we see them 2 days later, we're like, "Hey, I remember you." And you're talking, you're laughing. There's karaoke, I think he said. Also, the dining time. If you select the what is it called, my time dining or whatever
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
cruise ship calls it. Um, you can eat in the buffet area, but there are some people who choose to eat in a sit down dining room where you order food. And sometimes in those situations, you may eat with the same people every single time. So you have an opportunity to get to meet those people. Either they're at your table, the table close to you, but you have an opportunity to meet people.
Which is pretty awesome because on one of our
Hmm.
cruises, we did have a time we ate breakfast with some people who were in the same field that we were, and
Mm.
that was pretty interesting. That we all were in the same field, enjoying breakfast and talking, and had a lot to talk about. So you'd be surprised at different places that you will meet and have people to talk with,
Mhm.
and how much conversation you have just going on a solo cruise. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. And if you're someone that likes the nightclub that they have on cruises, you will definitely meet people there. Some of these nightclubs are open night after night after night. So if you're someone who does that, you will meet people there.
And I'll tell you, you need to keep an open mind. And here's why. Because you may not have planned a solo cruise, but if your group doesn't make it to the cruise,
Mm,
then guess what? You now have a solo cruise. And
mm.
it's not all that bad when you look at it the right way.
And we actually met a lady on our last cruise who was in a group, I think, a family of either 11 or 12. And she was the only one that made the cruise. And actually, that was not her first time cruising alone. She enjoyed it. She enjoys meeting people. She enjoys the flexibility. You don't have to worry about, is that other person having a good time, or should I come back to spend? She loves it.
And the thing about that one is, I remember thinking, how did she doing this? She was legally blind, but
Mm,
she was still on the cruise by herself, just and had a great time.
had a great
So
time.
I would say to you, if you're in a solo situation, don't worry about it. Take the cruise. You will have a great time on that cruise. But on the opposite end of that, even if you're not a solo cruiser, if you're cruising as a couple, that's a
Mm.
pretty good experience too, wouldn't you
Yeah,
say?
for the most part.
Yeah, I think the company of the I think the company you pick, well, are tied to, really can make it an enjoyable cruise for you, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of things you could plan together, and so what you're doing, and especially if you like interest in something, you could really enhances that experience. So you can cruise as a couple, and I tell you, it's one of the best things you could possibly do to really connect.
Yeah, and if you are cruising as a couple, the plus about it is, for the most part, you have that ready-made partner. If you want to karaoke, there's your
Hey,
person. Your
um,
family feud, there's your person. You want to
well, we did
play,
something separate though.
what was that?
On Royal, see, Family Feud was really tough to get on Carnival, but
Hmm.
on Royal, they had a similar game. You were on a
Oh,
different team. I was on a winning team, but you were on a different team, and so
yeah, and I can't remember how they did it. Their family feud was not quite as organized, so you didn't necessarily know the people in your family during that game. But it's just the idea that different cruise lines
yes,
do have opportunities for you to meet people, and not only if you're a couple. Let's say you're a family of four, there's some options there too. You want to think about the rooming situation. Some
yes,
people enjoy being in a room, especially if their children are younger, being in a room with their kids in the same room. They have bunk bed situations, they have suites, they have different things that you can do, adjoining rooms if you are cruising with a family. So keep that in mind, because your children, even though you may be tight in that room, your kids will be busy throughout the day. There's plenty of activities. So for some people, they don't mind being crammed in one room for 4 or 5 days, because we're only there to sleep.
yeah. And I would say, if you don't want to be in that situation and you have a family, you could always take an opportunity to contact your
Mm,
cruise planner and talk about adjoining rooms. We had connecting rooms on one of our cruises. It was great because it
mhm,
gave the kids their space. We had our space, and it wasn't like when they closed that door, anything could happen, because we had a connecting room door that we left open most of the time. So that's a really good feature as well when you think
mhm.
about it. But family cruising is one thing. Group cruising, I think, takes it to a whole nother level.
And that group can be, we've seen groups where there are probably 30 people. We've seen groups where there are 40 people. We've done groups, that group we did was that about 12
There's
people.
12 people.
So they're different
Well,
sizes,
and we've
but
seen them have family reunions on a cruise. So there are 100
mhm,
people. One of the big benefits I like about group cruising is the rate, right? So you
mm,
contact your cruise line and you get a specialized code, specialized booking site for your particular group. And everyone in that group can use that code, that site, to register for that cruise, pay for that cruise, all inclusive. Everything is there for them. And when you do that, now the travel organizer for that group can then set some other things in motion to try and help everybody get to the same place.
mhm,
Because that could be part of the most frustrating part, or the nervousness about
mhm.
having a large group, is everyone getting on the same page.
Yeah, because there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can go through a travel agent, which some people do. You call them up, they book everything for you. You tell them when you want to go, where you want to go. They do everything for you. You can have a group leader, where maybe there's not a travel agent, But there's one person who kind of communicates with the cruise line. You can get your rooms in the same area, all of that. The third option, which is a little more chaotic, but for some people, it's probably less chaotic, where you just tell people, this is the cruise we're going on, this is the date, make it happen.
Yeah.
So everybody's doing their own thing,
The good
but
luck option.
yeah, but
Hope you got the right ship.
you don't have, well, that's something you want to clarify, the right ship, the right date, the right time, as I said. But you don't have to worry about managing so many moving parts. You're just going to assume that you're an adult, you're going to be on the cruise the date and time we say. So that is the third option.
Yeah, and I would
Mhm.
tell you for a lot of different reasons. If you're one of those people who are looking to cruise as a group, please don't back away or shy away from that option because there's some really good things you could do in terms of coordinating the travel, setting meal times. Because
Mhm.
let's face it, with a large group, you're not going to do everything together because the group size is too large. But one of the things you will do on a consistent basis is that you'll most likely have a dinner at least twice on that cruise. You can coordinate that cruise.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do. And one thing I think that's important also about big groups is you have to think about timeliness. Some people are more punctual than others. If you want to plan something and you know that two or three people in the group are super early, two or three are super late, just know that if you choose to plan things, there may be a little bit of stress, a little bit of tension. Or you might just say, hey, we have too many late people, too many early people. Let's just not plan anything together. So it's the way you do it.
Yeah.
But there also, we've seen, like you said, we've seen weddings, graduations, family reunions. So you have T-shirts. Some people do T-shirts. They do things. It kind of helps identify you, especially on that first day. You can kind of spot your crew out real quickly. But the dining time is a good thing to do. It may be the only time that you're
The
all
only
together.
time.
There really is,
Yeah.
because there's so many things to do. Everybody's going so many different directions. You may not always want the same excursion, but if you plan a dining time and you say, we're going to be at this dining time, this particular time, that may be the only time during the cruise that you are all together.
Right, and finding value in having that meal together, but it's not to say that there won't be smaller versions of that group
Yep.
that will do things together. So, cruising offers that opportunity. There's so many different activities. You can go in so many different directions and then have that common time where you come together. So, at the end of the day, whether you're single, uh, a couple with a family, or even cruising as a group, cruising is the way to go.
Yeah. I think one thing you also want to think about is how we're all going to get there.
Yes.
If you are planning to cruise from LA and people are coming from Texas, from New York, from Louisiana, from Tennessee, how are we all getting there? Are we driving? Are we flying? There's some groups who will opt for everyone to get there together. And there's pluses and minuses to that. What do you think is a plus?
Well, I think the plus is we know where everyone is, and we're
Mhm.
all together. We're all getting on the ship. Uh, that would be a
Yeah.
definite plus.
Yeah, it's organized. That
Yeah.
is a plus. I think one of the negatives, and if you can't tell so far, one person in this couple is very organized, very to the T, very plan ahead. The other person in this couple is, let's just throw it up and see what happens. I don't know if you can tell who's who, but I think the negative to planning everything together is, one, you are dependent on others. If you
Mm.
say we all need to be here to get this Uber or to catch this cab or whatever we're doing, and you know there are people in your group who are not on time, you were dependent on them. The lady that we met on the cruise who got on and half the 10 people from her family missed it, it's because those 10 people were all riding together. Something came up and somebody wanted to wait for something. Well, they all had to wait. They all ended up missing the cruise.
All.
Now, if they had not planned that together, perhaps maybe just one person would have missed it, or maybe no one would have missed it. But because they were all together waiting on one person, they all missed the cruise.
Yeah. But I will say this for the planners of the world, set standards, right? So, if solo, I set my standard. I'll get there. I get there. Couples and families, you tend to stick together. We know where our two sons that traveled on the cruise with us were. so they got to hop on the ship, and we knew that they were there, right? So when we expand it out and get more of the children going with us on a cruise, then we're going to want to encompass them in that travel as well. So now it's like, so we go from 4 to 6 to 8, keeping people together. I will say this for the positive: when you're playing a group, you can set a standard, that same kind of standard, and say, hey, if you're going on this cruise, you need to arrive by this date at this time in order to go on the cruise, right? If you can't plan to be there a day before, if your flight can't get you in town the day before, and you do a pre-check to make sure everything is good when you get there, it doesn't work out because it's going to be very frustrating trying to coordinate that many people the day of.
And that's where you can say, if you can't be here when we say, then just know you're going to be on your own.
Right.
Because that's the hectic thing about coordinating the group, is it can be hectic because now you're managing so many moving parts. So sometimes you can say, hey, we're all getting in this time. If you're not here at XYZ time, then just know you're on your own. We won't
Right.
be waiting for you. But there's one other thing I think that's good, especially if you're cruising with children. When we took our kids, there's so many activities on the boat to do. I think it's good, especially for youngers, to have a meet and check-in time, because it
Yes.
is very easy to get up at 8 o'clock, see them at 8 o'clock, and not see them again till 1 in the morning. So have a meeting in
Or
time,
later.
or check, or later, have a check-in time. Maybe you can say, I want to see you at 8, I want to see you at 12, and I want to see you at curfew, or I want to see you at 8 and I want to see you at 5 o'clock. But have some kind of check-in time just so you make sure everyone's okay. The ship has a lot of people. You never want anything bad to happen. So I do think it's good to have some kind of check-in time. And
Yeah.
most of these cruise ships do have an app that allows you to chat, even if you don't get the Wi-Fi. It may be $5 or $10, but it's an app,
Yeah.
and it allows you to chat with people once you're on the boat, and you can chat with anyone. You just add them to your group. So that's a good thing too.
And I will say that's very important for check-in as well. Because keep in mind, if you're on a mega ship, you could have as many as 7,400 passengers
Mm,
on that ship, and you're trying to keep control of what's happening with your family, your immediate family. Like, where are they? What are they doing? Are they
mhm.
good? While you're getting immersed into whatever activity you're into. So you're absolutely right. The check-in time is critical because you may not see everybody every day, but
Mhm.
those in the immediate circle, you definitely need a check-in time.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So I will say to this, say this: if one, we can say one is too many or one is not enough, but at the same time, if you love cruising, you will make it work. And here's why: life is short.
So cruise more.